Welcome everyone, hope you're doing well. If you're thinking of buying a home and want to know how much you need saved up, you've come to the right place. I'm Stuart Shefter, realtor here in the triangle of the only state that has two official barbecue sauces. And in this video, we'll cover the upfront expenses you need to save up for, give some details about each of those items, and in the end, we'll put it all together for an overall estimate about how much you need to save before purchasing a home. Before we get started, if you were born in the western part of the state but think Eastern style barbecue sauce is better, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go visit some local barbecue joints. All right, let's get started. When most of my first-time home buyers ask how much are closing costs, they typically mean how much do I need to save in order to buy a home? Closing costs are definitely part of the equation, but they're not the whole story. Now, if you want to deep dive into closing costs, I'll have a video coming out on that in a few weeks. But for today, we're going to cover all of the upfront expenses a buyer might have and put some numbers to each one. Now, keep in mind, these are estimates. If you want some more information on your specific situation, your best bet is to speak to your local realtor and loan officer. And speaking of loan officers, a huge thank you to Stephen Winiger, who helped put some numbers and phrasing to a few of these items. His contact information is down below in the description. The first thing to know is everything will fall into one of two categories, either things you'll need to pay before closing or things you'll need to pay at closing. And everything in these two categories are things you'll need to budget before purchasing a home. The before closing category is everything in the process to get you to closing day. And everything in the at closing category has to deal with either the mortgage or the actual transaction of purchasing the home. Let's dig into that first category, paid before closing. Here's a quick list of the 7 expenses you might see before closing day: due diligence fee, earnest money, home inspection, specialists, survey, appraisal fee, and a credit check. Now, here are some more details on each of those. The due diligence fee is a non-refundable amount that's due directly to the seller when your offer is accepted. It will later appear as a credit to your down payment, so it's not lost, but you can think of it as a pre-down payment. You'll see how the math works out with our final estimate. The amount of a due diligence fee is entirely negotiable. Now, for budgeting purposes, let's start at around 2% of the overall price. And if you want more information on the due diligence fee, I'll have a video on that down in the description. Earnest money is very similar to the due diligence fee in that it's upfront money that will come back as a credit to your down payment. The amount is also negotiable. However, at the time of this video, due diligence amount takes precedence, so fewer transactions are written with the earnest money amount. If you have enough saved up for due diligence, then some of that money can be used here instead. Next up is home inspection. They're always recommended, and they'll give you an idea of the overall health of your home. Home inspections start around $500 and go up depending on square footage, age of the home, or foundation type. And if you want more information on what to expect with your home inspection, I have a video down in the description. Specialists may or may not be needed. It depends on the results of your home inspection. If you need a plumber, electrician, or structural engineer to follow up on an inspection item, that will also be an upfront expense. Specialists can cost anywhere from $100 to $700. Next, we have the survey. They are optional, but I always recommend it. Surveys are useful to know exactly where your lot lines are. And if you want to build a fence or a shed, you'll definitely want one. Surveys can cost anywhere from $500 to $750. Appraisal fees are charged by the mortgage company for an appraiser to come out and appraise the home. They're typically less than $750, but that's a good benchmark for your budget. And a credit check is also charged by the mortgage company to help determine your actual mortgage rate. Credit checks are around $100. For appraisal fees and credit checks, talk to your loan officer for how they handle these. It's rare, but your lender might actually waive these entirely. And those are the 7 expenses in our before closing category. And here are the 9 expenses that you'll pay for at closing. Now, when taken all together, these at closing expenses are also referred to as cash to close. In other words, it's the amount of money you'll need to bring to closing day. The quick list is the remainder of your down payment, that's after due diligence fee and earnest money, lender fee, rate buy down, attorney fee, tax and insurance escrow, first year insurance premium, title insurance, prepaid interest, and the recording fee. First, and most well known, is the remaining down payment. Now, this is an amount that's calculated as a percentage of the overall purchase price. Some loans only require 3 to 5% down. Speak with your local loan officer to determine exactly how much you should budget. And keep in mind the due diligence and earnest money from earlier roll into this amount, which is why I like calling it the remaining down payment. Everything from here on out can be lumped into that infamous phrase, closing costs. See what I meant when I said closing costs are only part of the story? All right, next up, the lender fee is an administrative fee that the lender will charge in processing your loan. Most lender fees are anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, but definitely check with your loan officer to see what theirs is. Next is the rate buy down. Many mortgage lenders will allow you to pay more money up front in order to get a better mortgage rate. And while it's not part of every process, a little bit of money budgeted here can save you money over the long term. Usually 1% of the purchase price can translate into 0.25% of an interest rate. Moving on to attorney fees, which are charged by the attorney for their work in the transaction. Attorney fees usually amount to about $1,000 depending on how complex everything is. Tax and insurance escrow gets a little tricky, so feel free to rewind if you need me to say any of this again. This is all money that's held aside for different reasons. The tax portion will change based on your home's tax value, local property taxes, and even when during the year you close. The insurance portion will be a few months of your homeowner's insurance paid up front. An overall $800 to $1,200 is about right here. Speaking of insurance, most people don't know they need to pay 12 months of their homeowner's insurance premium up front, so we'll budget about $1,000 to $1,500 for here. And title insurance is also just under $1,000 and encompasses both the buyer's and lender's policies to protect against any home ownership claims made from any other party. Next, there's prepaid interest from closing day to the end of the month. And this gets your payment schedule lined up to be on the first of each month. It'll vary based on when during the month you close. If you close towards the beginning of the month, it could be as much as $2,000. If you close towards the end, it could be close to zero. Recording fees are last on the list, and they're the cost of your closing attorney filing everything with the Register of Deeds. And depending on how the county and your attorney break this down, it could be somewhere around $100. Now let's add it all together using the current median home value here in the triangle. And as of August of 2022, that median sales price here in the triangle was $405,000. So we're going to round down to $400,000 for some easy math. And here's that list. I've given us a low budget and a high budget amount to help you see how some of those variable costs can come into play. I've also broken out the down payment to remind us that the due diligence and earnest money help go towards that amount. And here at the bottom, we have our overall total. It can be a lot to take in, but that's why you have experts to guide you. Keep in mind, these estimates are for a $400,000 home. Items based on purchase price will change based on the price range you're looking in. While this video will give you a good ballpark estimate based on some averages, you want to talk to a local realtor and a loan officer for a better understanding of your individual situation. We're here as a resource, not only when you're ready to look for a home, but also to help you get ready. So if you have any questions, thoughts, or suggestions, please drop them down in the comments. And if you feel awkward about everyone seeing it, feel free to email or text. My contact info is in the description. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.